13 things women may experience when they become sexually active. What it's like to be a newly sexually active woman. It doesn't matter if you started having sex as a teenager, like the average American woman who begins at age 17.4, as a late bloomer who waited until you were legally able to drink, like me, or after you were married. Becoming sexually active brings many surprises. Despite the common advice given to virgins about what beginner sex is like, this is an area where generalizations don't apply. Sex is different for everyone. What sex felt like for me when I first started is likely different from your experience or that of other women. Additionally, my experiences are primarily with heterosexual sex, so they might differ from those of women who have sex exclusively with other women. However, since we share similar anatomy, there are likely some commonalities in the experiences of newly sexually active women. Here are 13 of the biggest things I noticed. 1. Having sex for the first time sometimes hurts like hell. I'm sure this isn't the case for every woman, but it was true for me and almost every woman I know whose first time was with a man. My ex had such a hard time getting it in the first time, even though we'd been fooling around for weeks, that I had to use gravity and get on top to lose my virginity. The first guy I had sex with was quite well endowed, which certainly contributed to the pain, but I feel like losing my virginity would have hurt regardless. 2. And the second time will probably hurt too. Again, I'm sure this isn't true for all women, and it might have been less of an issue for me if my ex had a smaller penis and focused more on foreplay. But for me, sex wasn't just painful the first time. It honestly hurt quite a bit for the first few months. Even now, after years of sexual experience, it still hurts if I'm not adequately warmed up, my partner is well endowed, or I've been having frequent sex to the point where everything is sore. 3. Pleasure and pain often coincide during sex. In my experience, even though sex can be painful when you first start, it can also feel really good. If you're prepared for the possibility of some discomfort initially, it becomes easier to relax and focus on the pleasurable aspects rather than just the pain. 4. You realize that sex is extremely wet. If you've ever had sex, you know exactly what I mean. The amount of fluids down there can be quite overwhelming. I recall when my ex and I first started having sex, he once exclaimed, "It's like raging rivers down there." He wasn't wrong. 5. Every position is exciting at first. When I first started having sex, I felt like I was starring in my own porno every time I got intimate. Even now, I'm still open to trying just about anything during sex. In the beginning, no position was off limits because I was still figuring out which ones felt incredible and which ones were as enjoyable as a cervical exam. The thrill of discovery made even the positions I didn't love seem exciting. 6. You might feel that sex can be a feminist act. Before I became sexually active, I didn't fully understand that sex can be a feminist act, but once I started, I realized how true that is. Every aspect of my first time, from when and where it happened to who it was with, was entirely my decision. I had never felt more in control of my body than when I chose to trust someone else with it. While not everyone's sexual experiences begin this way, for those of us who did have this experience, it can be incredibly empowering. 7. You realize being a virgin is only a big deal to virgins. Before you started having sex, you might have felt somewhat embarrassed about your virginity. However, once you become sexually active, you quickly realize that being a virgin is only a big deal to those who are virgins. Personally, I believe no one should feel awkward about how long it takes them to lose their virginity. 8. UTIs might happen. Unfortunately, sex is a leading cause of UTIs in women. I experienced the worst UTI of my life shortly after becoming sexually active, and it left me quite frustrated with my urethra. However, I soon learned that UTIs from sex are not inevitable. Although it took enduring 3 days of painful urination to learn that lesson, it was a valuable one nonetheless. 9. Having sex might boost your confidence. I'm not implying that a woman should gain confidence solely through having sex. However, for me, becoming sexually active empowered me in a way I had never experienced. If you're anything like me, you probably walked around the next day with a confident stride, smiling broadly and winking at yourself in every mirror you passed. 10. You may think everyone can tell you had sex just by looking at you. After I began having sex, I felt like it was evident to everyone, and I suspect I'm not the only woman who feels this way. Don't worry, though, they definitely can't tell. 11. It takes a while to figure out how your partner can help you orgasm. As a sexual beginner, you come to realize that orgasms aren't guaranteed during sex, especially in the early stages. It took a few months of sexual experience with my ex before I discovered that oral sex could help me reach orgasm. Once I figured that out, though, it was truly amazing. 12. You realize orgasms require effort. Movies, porn, and even books often give virgins the impression that orgasms are effortless and magical. However, when you begin having sex for the first time, you realize that achieving orgasms requires effort from both the person seeking one and their partner who is assisting them. 13. If you're unable to orgasm from penetration alone, you might freak out about it at first. Like many women, I've never experienced an orgasm from penetration alone. When I first started having sex, I worried this meant something was wrong with me, and I believe many women share this concern when they begin heterosexual relationships. However, as you probably already know, not reaching orgasm from penetration doesn't imply that you can't thoroughly enjoy sex, that something is amiss with you, that you're inadequate in bed, or that you're making mistakes. There are numerous ways to derive pleasure from sex, and one of the most exciting aspects of starting your sexual journey is realizing you're just beginning to explore them all. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. Let us know your thoughts about this video in the comment section down below, and feel free to stay and enjoy it until the end. Also, make sure to check out our next highlighted video, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.